It may not be possible to send Vladimir Putin to face war crime charges at The Hague if he is the only person with whom the West has to negotiate an end to the Ukraine war, Emmanuel Macron has said. In a wide-ranging speech at an EU leaders' conference in Bratislava, Slovakia, the French president also set out plans for a fast enlargement of the EU, reconciliation between the East and West of Europe and a clear path to Ukraine's NATO membership. He insisted that Russia had lost all legitimacy, but said if the coming Ukraine offensive did not meet its military objectives, there would have to be an assessment of the nature of future European support for Ukraine. At the same time, he insisted that Ukraine was defending not just its own borders, but those of Europe. He also called for continuity in U.S. policy towards Ukraine, but said the EU, by strengthening its own defenses, had to prepare for the possibility that a Republican administration might be elected. In the frankest remarks yet by a European leader about the need to negotiate with Putin, Macron said that, on the timing issue, this is where I want to be very honest and transparent with you. The question is if in a few months to come, you have a window for negotiation with the existing Russian political power. The question you will have is an arbitrage between a trial and a negotiation. And you will have to negotiate with the leaders you have, de facto, even if the day after you will have to judge them in front of them of international justice. So this is a question of articulation. Otherwise you can put yourselves just in an impossible situation where you say, I want you to go to jail, but you are the only ones I can negotiate with. He said that in the meantime evidence against Russia and its leaders should be assembled. Pressing his case for greater European defense spending and coordination, he said, our security and stability should not be delegated and left at the discretion of U.S. voters. To his claim 3 years ago that NATO was in the throes of brain death, he said Putin's invasion of Ukraine had been a wake-up call to which NATO had responded well. But he pointed out that some NATO members, without directly mentioning Turkey, were not imposing sanctions on Russia. He acknowledged that in the past Western Europe had not been sensitive to the requests of the East. Some said you had missed an opportunity to stay quiet. I think we also lost an opportunity to listen to you. This time is over, Macron said, to applause in the audience. He was alluding to a remark in 2003 by former French President Jacques Chirac, who said Eastern European nations which sided with the US and Britain in their decision to invade Iraq that year, opposed by some major Western allies including France and Germany, had missed a good opportunity to stay quiet. Referring to the division of Europe enforced in the East in the wake of the Second World War, Macron said Europe must not allow Eastern Europe to be kidnapped by Russia a second time, adding that the enforced estrangement had weakened the whole European family. Macron predicted that the coming NATO summit in Vilnius in July would not be able to reach a consensus on Ukraine's future membership of NATO, but said, We need to build something between security guarantees provided to Israel and full-fledged NATO membership. We need something tangible, clear and concrete. We need a path to membership. He added that Ukraine must be given sufficient means to stop further aggression and, we must be able to guarantee they are tangible and sustainable, because it was protecting Europe. Each country, he said, should have a right to pick its allies. Russia's invasion had been a geopolitical failure that had aggravated mistrust all its neighbors. There is no space in Europe anymore for imperialistic delirium, he said, but he also made an appeal to Central and Eastern European countries not to see greater European defense cooperation, spending and partnerships as a way of reducing NATO's influence, insisting a strong European pillar in NATO was of benefit to everyone.